Have you ever felt like life is slowing down, but inside something deeper is waking up? Growing older can feel confusing. Your body changes, roles shift, the world moves faster around you. But what if this isn't the beginning of the end? What if it's the beginning of real clarity? Inspired by timeless Buddhist wisdom, this video shares 10 powerful lessons to help you embrace aging not with fear, but with peace, purpose, and quiet joy. Because getting older isn't about fading away. It's about becoming more fully yourself than ever before. Stay with me, and let's walk this path together. Lesson 1. Impermanence is inevitable, anicca. One of the deepest truths the Buddha taught is this: everything changes. Our bodies grow older, our roles shift, friends leave, children grow, and the mirror shows us someone we don't quite recognize. This isn't something to fear, it's something to understand. It's called anicca, impermanence. Nothing in life stands still, and that's okay. Because aging is not the end of the story. It's a new chapter in the unfolding. The lines on your face, they are not flaws. They are maps of love, of loss, of laughter. We suffer when we cling to what used to be, but peace begins when we let go and allow life to be just as it is. Aging is not something going wrong. It's life doing what it has always done, changing, moving, becoming. In accepting that, we stop fearing time and we start honoring it. Lesson 2. You are not your body. The body changes, we all see it. The skin softens, the joints ache, the pace slows. But here's a truth the Buddha pointed to again and again. You are not your body. This body is your home, your vessel, but it is not you. The body rises and falls with time, like a wave on the ocean. But the awareness behind your eyes, the presence within you, that doesn't wrinkle. It watches, it learns, it stays. If you've ever felt young in your heart, even as the mirror tells another story, that's the real you shining through. When we stop identifying with the body, we stop fearing its changes. We become freer, lighter, more at peace. So honor your body, care for it, but don't mistake it for who you are. You are the one who sees, who feels, who is. Lesson 3. Suffering comes from attachment, tanha. Why do we suffer as we grow older? Is it because of the grey hair, the slower steps, the quiet rooms? Not quite. The Buddha taught that suffering doesn't come from aging itself. It comes from attachment. This craving or tanha is the grasping we do in our minds. We cling to our youth. We hold on to the way things used to be. Our strength, our roles, our routines. And the more tightly we cling, the more pain we feel when life changes. But here's the good news. Just as we learn to hold on, we can learn to let go. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means softening our grip. It means saying, yes, things are changing, and that's okay. I don't need to fight it anymore. Imagine the relief of not having to resist time. Imagine the peace of simply allowing life to unfold. When we release the craving to look a certain way, to be who we once were, we begin to touch something much deeper: contentment, clarity, even joy. It's like setting down a heavy bag you've carried for far too long. The truth is, you don't have to stay the same to be whole. In fact, in this season of life, you are invited to grow in new ways, not outward, but inward. Let this be the time you let go of what no longer serves you, and in that letting go, find the freedom that has always been yours. Lesson 4. Every wrinkle is a teacher. Every line on your face holds a story, a smile that came from a child's laughter, a tear shed during a quiet goodbye, a furrowed brow in the face of worry, and the strength that carried you through. In the Buddhist tradition, wisdom isn't in avoiding age, it's in embracing it. The world may chase youth, but the Dharma honors depth. And as we grow older, life begins to teach us, not through books, but through experience. The challenges you've faced, the love you've given, the losses you've endured. These are not things to hide. They are the very things that have shaped your understanding. The Buddha once said, "The wise one sees cause and effect." When we look back with open eyes, we see how each joy and sorrow carried us here. We see that nothing was wasted. That moment of heartbreak, it taught compassion. That mistake from years ago, it revealed humility. That illness or fear, it opened a door to patience. The outer signs of aging, the wrinkles, the graying hair, the softer voice, these are not signs of decline but of ripening. In a world that values speed, growing older gives us something rare: depth. You become someone others can turn to, not because you have all the answers, but because you've lived the questions. So when you see your reflection, don't look for flaws. Look for a lifetime of learning, because every wrinkle is a teacher, and you, my friend, are becoming the lesson. Lesson 5. Aging sharpens compassion. As we grow older, something subtle begins to happen. We start to feel more, not less, not just for ourselves, but for others. In Buddhism, compassion, or karuna, is one of the highest qualities of the heart. It's not something we're born with fully formed. It ripens over time, like fruit on the tree. And strangely enough, it is aging that often opens the door to deeper compassion. Why? Because we've lived enough life to know what it's like to struggle. We've lost people we loved. We've made mistakes we couldn't take back. We've carried burdens silently, smiled through grief, and gotten up when we thought we couldn't. So when we see someone else hurting, we feel it. We don't rush to fix them or judge them. We simply understand. That's the beauty of aging. The ego begins to soften, and the heart begins to widen. In younger years, we often seek achievement, recognition, control. But as time passes, we begin to see what really matters: connection, kindness, presence. You may notice yourself becoming more patient with people, or more forgiving of small things, or more aware that everyone is carrying something unseen. This is not weakness. This is wisdom. The Buddha taught that to have compassion is to suffer with another, not out of pity, but from shared humanity. Aging reminds us that we are not separate. We all bleed. We all lose. We all long for peace. And so, the older we get, the more our hearts break, but not in a way that destroys us. They break open, and in that opening, we become more available to others, more grounded, more real. If you felt your heart become softer as you've grown older, trust it. That is the wisdom of compassion waking up in you, and it may just be the most beautiful part of aging. Lesson 6. Let go of the illusion of control. In our younger years, most of us live under a quiet belief that we're in control of our lives, our plans, our bodies, our futures. But one of the gentle truths of aging is this: we were never really in control. And while that might sound unsettling, it's also the path to incredible peace, if we're willing to let go. In Buddhism, this illusion of control is one of the causes of suffering. We try to control what is uncontrollable: time, health, other people's choices, even the weather. And when life doesn't go according to our expectations, we struggle. But the more we age, the more we start to see life has its own rhythm. You can eat healthy and still get sick. You can raise your children with love and they'll still choose their own paths, sometimes far from what you hoped. You can make plans and then lose everything in a single moment. One woman I spoke with, 72 years old, shared how she spent most of her life trying to control her image, her weight, her schedule. But after a fall that left her with limited mobility, something changed. She told me, "I couldn't control my body anymore, so I finally had to make peace with it. For the first time in my life, I felt free." Another man in his 60s said that he used to micromanage his adult children's choices, their jobs, their finances, even how they raised their kids. But eventually, he said, I realized I was trying to write their story instead of reading it. Letting go gave us back our relationship. These are not stories of giving up. They are stories of waking up to the truth that control is not peace, but surrender is. The Buddha didn't ask us to be passive. He asked us to be wise, to act when action is needed, and to release when life demands change. Imagine how different your days would feel if you weren't trying to control every outcome. What if, instead, you learned to respond rather than resist? In Buddhist practice, this is like learning to surf a wave instead of trying to stop the ocean. Yes, we plan. Yes, we care. But we also let go. Let go of needing things to go your way. Let go of needing others to understand. Let go of trying to hold time in your hands. Letting go doesn't mean we don't love. It means we love without conditions. It means we love the moment for what it is, not what we wish it to be. So, if your body changes, let it. Care for it, but with kindness, not control. If people in your life grow distant, love them from where you are. If your days look different than you imagined, open your heart to them anyway. The Buddha taught, just as a rock is not moved by the wind, the wise are not moved by praise or blame. The wise are not moved by control. They are anchored in trust. Trust in life, trust in change, trust in the deep stillness within. So let this season of your life be one of surrender, not struggle. And in letting go of control, may you finally discover the quiet joy of simply being. Lesson 7. Presence is the greatest gift of aging. When we are young, our minds are full of the future. What's next? Where am I going? What should I become? We chase what's ahead, often missing what's right in front of us. But as we grow older, especially past 60, something begins to shift. The future stops pulling so hard. The past softens its grip. And in that quiet space, we start to notice the present. This is one of the hidden gifts of aging, presence. In Buddhist practice, mindfulness or sati is at the heart of awakening. It means to be fully here, not lost in regret, not chasing what's next, just here. And in this later stage of life, you may find yourself doing this more naturally than you realize. Have you ever sat by a window and watched the light change across the floor and really noticed it, or savored a warm cup of tea without rushing, or listened to a grandchild's voice as if it were music. That's presence. That's mindfulness. A 68-year-old friend once told me, "I used to eat dinner while checking emails. Now I light a candle, sit down, and eat like it matters." What changed? Not the food, her awareness. Another woman in her 70s said, "I no longer rush to fill silences. I let them breathe, and I found some of my deepest peace there." This is the wisdom of the present moment, and it often reveals itself only when we stop running. The Buddha described mindfulness as the direct path to freedom. Not freedom from aging, but freedom from distraction, from anxiety, from restlessness. And in truth, you don't need to go on a retreat or meditate for hours to taste this. You simply begin by being where you are, fully, washing your hands, feeling the warmth of water, sitting quietly, noticing your breath, looking at the sky, letting it be enough. The older we get, the more precious each moment becomes, because we finally see how fleeting each one is. And instead of mourning that, we can celebrate it, because impermanence makes everything shine brighter. The laughter at the dinner table, the sound of wind through trees, even the quiet loneliness of a morning alone, all of it is part of the miracle of being alive, right now. Many people look at aging and think of loss, but the Buddha might ask, what are you truly losing if each day teaches you how to be here more fully? And what might you gain if this very moment became enough? So let presence be your practice. Let it be the way you meet your days, your relationships, your own breath. Because when you are present, nothing is wasted. And as your body slows and the outer world shifts, your inner world, your awareness, becomes richer than ever. This is not the end of your story. This is the deepening of it. Lesson 8. Stop comparing. Your path is uniquely yours. As we age, one of the quietest forms of suffering is this: comparison. We look at others, their health, their wealth, their relationships, and we ask, why am I not like that? Or we look back on our younger selves and whisper, I used to be stronger, more attractive, more important. But the Buddha taught a liberating truth. Your path is your own. Comparison is not wisdom. It is distraction. It is craving in disguise. And perhaps now, in the later chapters of life, you're finally ready to let it go. A 73-year-old man once shared, I used to envy my brother, his big house, his perfect kids, his travels. But one day, I realized I didn't actually want his life. I just didn't know how to love mine. That moment is the beginning of freedom, because your life is not meant to be a copy. It is meant to be a truth. The tree does not compare itself to the flower. The river does not wish to be the mountain. Each follows its own way and contributes to the beauty of the whole. In Buddhist practice, we are reminded the causes and conditions that shape a life are vast and mysterious. You were born with your own set of challenges, gifts, timing, and karma. No one else has lived your joys. No one else has survived your losses. No one else has carried your particular burden and still found their way here. So what would happen if you stopped measuring your life against someone else's? What if you chose to honor what is, rather than mourn what isn't? You might begin to see the richness you've been carrying all along. That quiet evening you spent with your spouse after dinner, was that not sacred? That morning you helped your neighbor without anyone seeing. Was that not generous? That time you sat with someone in grief and offered your presence. Was that not compassion? These are not small things. These are the invisible acts of a meaningful life. But they are often overlooked when we are too busy measuring ourselves against others. So, here's a simple practice. When you find yourself comparing, pause, breathe, and ask gently, what is beautiful in my life right now? Maybe it's your resilience. Maybe it's your ability to laugh through hardship. Maybe it's the wisdom that you finally don't need to be anyone else. In Buddhism, there's a term, mudita, the joy we feel in another's happiness. It is the opposite of envy, and as we mature, we have the chance to grow this joy, to bless others without shrinking ourselves, to say, good for them, and good for me too. Let this be the season where you stop comparing and start appreciating. Your path is not lesser, it is simply yours, and it has led you here, to presence, to depth, to peace. So walk it with pride, walk it with grace, because no one else can. Lesson 9. Be a lamp unto yourself. In the final years of his life, the Buddha gave a simple but powerful teaching: be a lamp unto yourself. As we grow older, this wisdom takes on deeper meaning. The roles we once relied on, parent, worker, partner, provider, begin to change or fade. The world grows quieter. People may turn to us less for our labor, but more for our presence. And here, something remarkable happens. We begin to guide ourselves, not from ego, but from experience, not from trying to impress, but from learning how to live. In our youth, we looked outward for direction. In old age, we're invited to look inward and light our own way. One man in his 80s said to me, I've stopped asking what I should be doing and started listening to what feels right in my bones. That's what it means to be your own lamp. You trust the wisdom life has carved into you. You follow your quiet knowing, the voice that isn't loud but steady. And from that place, something else unfolds. You become a light for others. Not by preaching, not by trying, just by being. When you are calm in the face of change, when you offer compassion instead of judgment, when you listen without rushing to fix, you become a teaching. A grandchild may watch how you greet the morning. A neighbor may notice the way you walk with patience. And without saying a word, you show them a different way to live. In this season of life, you are not fading. You are becoming clearer. So ask yourself each day, how can I light my own path today? How can I leave a little more kindness behind me? You don't need to know all the answers. You simply need to walk with honesty, with presence, with heart. The light you carry is not something outside you. It is who you are becoming. Lesson 10. Death is not the end. It's a continuation. In the West, we often treat death as something final, a full stop, a closing door. But in Buddhism, death is not the end. It is a continuation, a transition, not a disappearance. The Buddha taught that everything in life arises, changes, and passes. Not just people, but thoughts, feelings, seasons. Everything flows. Death is simply part of that flow. Think of a wave on the ocean. It rises for a moment, beautiful, full of energy, and then it returns to the sea. But did it really vanish? Or did it just change form? In the same way, our lives do not end at death. They continue in memories, in the love we've given, in the kindness we've offered, in the karma we've set in motion. A man in his late 70s told me once, "I used to fear death. Now I see it like falling asleep after a long day. I don't know exactly what's next, but I trust it's part of something larger than me." That trust is not blind hope. It's rooted in wisdom. Buddhism teaches that what we carry in our hearts, compassion, forgiveness, presence, ripples far beyond our final breath. When you smile at someone, comfort a friend, or offer help without expecting anything in return, that action plants seeds. And those seeds live on, in the people you've touched and in the world they help create. Death may take the body, but it cannot take the essence of who you are. So instead of fearing it, we can begin to prepare for it, not with dread, but with clarity. Ask, what do I want to leave behind? What kind of energy do I want to pass forward? Live those answers now, because each moment of presence, each act of love, becomes part of your continuation. And when the time comes to let go, you can do so gently, knowing that nothing truly ends. It simply transforms. As we age, we are not diminishing, we are distilling. Each moment becomes more precious, each breath more meaningful. These 10 lessons are not just ideas, they are invitations to let go, to see clearly, to love deeply, and to live wisely. You are not running out of time, you are arriving into yourself. So walk gently, walk with courage, and remember, you are not alone on this path. And the light you carry may be just what someone else needs to find their way. Thank you for walking with us.